Hey guys, Sobroni of G&A Reviews here with an in-depth guide for the Fate Grand Order Valentine's Day event 2018. Just like with my other event guides for Christmas and Gouda Gouda and Saber Wars, this is going to be an extremely in-depth guide. It's going to cover everything from which servants are on raid up to the most efficient farming strategies for the event. So to make it easier for you guys, in the description below are timestamps. You can skip ahead to whichever part of the video you want to see the most so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. But with that covered, let's get right into talking about my favorite part of every event, the servants and the gacha. So the gacha this time around has one brand new servant that you can roll, and that is the 5-star Nero Bride. She's a Saber class servant with an Arch Noble Phantasm and a max attack of 11,607 and a max HP of 14,248. I won't go into too much detail. I do have an entire spotlight video up on her. It's linked in the description below and at the end of this video, so do check that out right after this so you can get a better picture of how good she is and how to use her. Aside from Nero though, there aren't any new servants. There is no welfare servant for this event, unfortunately. Instead though, we have a rather robust gacha that has a ton of 5 stars on raid up. I won't go into detail on every single 5-star that's on raid up this time around, but servants that will be on raid up are Arturia, Altera, Jeanne d'Arc, Orion, Tamamo no Mae, Francis Drake, Jack the Ripper, and Mordred. So pretty much all the non-limited 5-star females are going to have a raid up this time, and they're going to alternate days. So I'm going to put up a chart right now that goes into detail on which days which servants are on raid up so that you know who you want to roll for and when you want to roll. So every day a new servant is going to be on raid up. Nero Bride is going to be on raid up for the entire event, so she's always going to have her raid up during the event. But in day 2 you're going to see Arturia, in day 3 is going to be Altera, then John, then Orion, then Tamamo, then Francis, then Jack the Ripper, and then Mordred, and then finally Nero is just by herself on raid up on the last day of the event. So do choose wisely and plan on who you're going to roll for. If you don't know who to roll for, I also have spotlights up for all of these servants. I'll link the playlist in the description and at the end of the video, so do check that out right after this if you want to know more about any of these servants. And now aside from those raid ups, the other interesting thing about the event is we're getting 4 interludes. Atlanta, Skahak, Tamamo no Mae, and Frankenstein are all getting interludes. In Skahak and Atlanta's case, they're going to be getting strengthening quests for their noble phantasms. And in Tamamo's case, she'll be getting an upgrade for her Fox Wedding skill, which will add a healing effect to it. And Frankenstein will be getting an upgrade to her Grief of a Hollow Lifeform skill, which will be increasing the defense down effect on it. And so that covers the servant half of the gacha. Let's move over to talking about the new craft essences we're getting with this event. And so we're getting a wealth of craft essences with this event. Let's go over the craft essences you can get in the gacha first. And the first of these craft essences is the 3-star Valentine Dojo of Tears. Now this is the 3-star craft essence, which means that you can get it in the friend point gacha. And what this does is apply short hit, so you can hit through evade, and increases your noble phantasm gauge by 3% per turn, but as a demerit it decreases charm resist by 10%. And in addition, for Valentine's only, it will increase Choco coin drops for the equipped servants class by 1. So this is something you can get in the friend point gacha, and I definitely recommend you do so because it's going to help you farm Choco coins, which are the currency for this event. As for the craft essence itself, it's actually a really decent craft essence. If you limit break it, you'll increase your noble phantasm gauge by 5% per turn, and on a 3-star craft essence, that's very good. And the demerit on it is completely irrelevant, so this is actually one of the better 3-star craft essences and definitely worth limit breaking. Next up is the 4-star craft essence, Kitchen Patissiere, which increases your crit star drop rate by 15% and increases your noble phantasm gain by 15%. In addition, for Valentine's only, it will increase the Choco coin drops for the equipped servants class by 3. If you limit break it, you'll increase critical star drop rate by 20% and increase noble phantasm gain by 20%. This is only available through the Quartz gacha, but it is a very strong craft essence, especially for a 4-star. Most servants with high critical star drop rate also have high noble phantasm gain, so this is going to go fantastically on Mysterious Heroine X, Jack the Ripper, Cursed Arm Hassan, and pretty much any crit star generator is going to greatly appreciate this craft essence. And finally, the last gacha craft essence is Street Choco Maid, which is a 5-star that increases arch card effectiveness by 10%, increases quick card effectiveness by 10%, and increases HP recovery amount by 20%. In addition, for Valentine's Day only, it will increase the Equipped Servants class Choco drops by 5. If you limit break it, it's going to increase your arts card effectiveness by 15%, quick card effectiveness by 15%, and HP recovery amount by 30%. I don't think I need to tell you, but this is a very strong craft essence. It increases arts and quick card effectiveness. We don't have a craft essence like that in the game right now. And while there aren't many quick art servants, there are a couple like MHX who will greatly appreciate this, and there will be more coming down the line. So if you can scoop up this craft essence, it's absolutely worth keeping around, and if you're fortunate enough to get 5 of them, then definitely limit break it. Now let's move on from the Gacha craft essences to the shop craft essence. So this is the craft essence that's only available in the item shop and that you have to buy with baking chocolate. And that craft essence is Melty Sweetheart. It increases your defense against males by 100% for 3 times and increases crit star drop rate by 10%. If you limit break it, it will increase crit star drop rate by 20%, and in addition, it will also increase all Choco coin drops by 2. So, important distinction is it increases all Choco coin drops, not just the Choco coin drops for your equipped class. This is a decent craft essence, nothing amazing, but having that 100% extra defense against males for 3 times can come in handy from time to time, especially if you're fighting a male berserker. So it might be worth putting on a tank that you have in your back row. So aside from these craft essences, there is one other part of the event I should mention, which is the chocolate craft essences. These are the chocolates you're going to get from your servant / waifu. You can also buy these in the shop. Each servant has a different, unique chocolate that they're going to give you. It's a 4-star craft essence. Every one of them is different, but they all have the same exact effect, which is they increase your Choco coin drop rate by 2 for servants of that class. So if you receive a chocolate craft essence from Saber, it's going to increase all Saber Choco coin drops by 2. If you receive one from Ushi, it's going to boost all Rider Choco coin drops by 2, etc. They have no other effect aside from that, so they're really only useful for this event. And that covers all the craft essences for this event. And while we're on the topic of the shop, let's talk about the other shop items too. So the shop for this event only really has one currency, and that is baking chocolate, which is kind of confusing because all the craft essences we just talked about increase Choco coin drops, not baking chocolate drops. And the way this mechanic works is you're basically just going to be trading in Choco coins for baking chocolate so that you can buy things in the shop, but we'll touch more on that in the farming section of this video. For now, I'm just going to go over the shop items. So all the items in the shop besides the chocolate craft essences cost baking chocolate, not Choco coins. And with your baking chocolates, you'll be able to buy the Melty Sweetheart craft essence at a cost of 400, then 600, then 800, and then 1000. You'll also be able to buy 50 3-star EXP cards at a cost of 10 each, 50 4-star experience cards at a cost of 20 each, 30 attack foes at a cost of 30 each, 30 HP foes at a cost of 30 each, 20 serpent jewels at a cost of 60 each, 20 homunculus babies at a cost of 60 each, 20 octuplet crystals at a cost of 60 each, 20 phoenix feathers at a cost of 60 each, 10 reverse dragon scales for 150 each, and 1 crystallized lore for 1000 chocolates, as well as Saber, Rider, Caster, and Berserker pieces, 20 for a cost of 60 each, and 20 Saber, Rider, Caster, and Berserker monuments at a cost of 90 each. And the last item in the shop is 1000 mana prisms at a cost of 10 chocolates each. In addition, you can trade in baking chocolate for QP as well. And I know that's a lot of stuff I mentioned, and it's a lot of farming to clear out the shop. If you want to clear out the shop, it's going to cost you 36,600 pieces of baking chocolate, which is going to keep you farming for a long while. However, in addition to that, there are also the 4-star chocolate craft essences you can buy from the shop. Now, these don't cost baking chocolate, they actually cost the chocolate coins. And depending on which servant you're buying the chocolate from is what coins you're going to pay with. Obviously, if you're buying from Arturia, you're going to need to pay with Saber chocolates. If you're buying from Kiyohime, it's Berserker chocolates, etc. Every craft essence for every servant is going to cost 150 of their respective chocolate coins each, which is not a cheap price at all. And whatever extra chocolate coins you have lying around, you can trade in for baking chocolate so that you can buy the other shop items. But for now, let's talk a little bit about the main story quest itself. So the main quest for this event is nothing to really write home about. It's a very, very easy main story, albeit a very generous one because they do reward you with quartz. But really, as you can see, the toughest enemy you're going to fight is going to be a 63,000 HP Kyohime, which is really pretty easy. If you have any servants around level 40 to 50, you'll be able to breeze through this. And even if you just started picking up the game yesterday, all you need to do is really just take one of your friend's supports and blaze through it. This isn't going to be a challenge for anyone, I don't think. But if you do want recommendations for who to bring, then bring a servant with a strong single target Noble Phantasm. Ushi, for example, works well. So does Lu Bu and Caesar. And the one point I could see being an annoyance for some people is the 53,000 HP Jack the Ripper in the last mission, because most casters aren't very offensive, and Jack can get her Noble Phantasm off pretty fast and has an evade. So for that, I do recommend bringing Media or Caster Liz if you were here for Halloween, or even Babbage or Hans. Those will do you very well in that mission. But other than that, there's not really much else to say. Get this out of the way real quick so you can move on to the free quest and get those precious quartz to roll the gacha. When it comes to farming this event, it's both straightforward and a little bit counterintuitive. So there are two different types of free quests. There are the Knight free quests, which comprise of Saber, Lancer, and Archer enemies, and the Cavalry free quests, which comprise of Berserkers, Assassins, Casters, and Riders. Each set of quests has 5 free quests: the 20 AP, the 25 AP, the 30 AP, the 35 AP, and the 40 AP. Naturally, the harder the quest, aka the more AP, the more drops you're going to get for it. So in both cases, you're going to want to farm the 40 AP. It's going to give you the most chocolate coin drops. So the way the chocolate coins work is that enemies of a certain class will drop coins for that class. So if you're fighting a Saber enemy, he will drop Saber chocolate coins. If you're fighting a Rider enemy, they'll drop Rider chocolate coins. So naturally, if you're farming for a certain type of coin, you're going to want to farm appropriately either in the Knight free quest or in the Cavalry free quest. But here's where it gets a little tricky. It's not as straightforward as just running into the 40 AP and farming your brains out. The way that this is structured is that there are actually rate ups for different types of enemies, and this chart right here shows you an approximation based on the JP version, which so far has been pretty accurate on what we can expect for the different rate ups for each class. So for example, on the first day you'll notice that there is a Rider rate up from when the event starts for the first 12 hours. What this means is that in the Cavalry quest, you're more likely to encounter Rider enemies, aka this is going to be the time you're farming Rider chocolate coins. After that 12-hour period, the Assassins will have a rate up, then Lancers, then Archers, so on and so forth. So this is actually a pretty handy chart to have so you know who's on rate up and when. And for all intents and purposes, you're only going to want to farm the quest of the enemy that's on rate up. It's a waste of time and AP to farm anywhere else, because then you're just going to get a mixed bag of enemies and you're not going to be able to farm efficiently. Thankfully, the game will tell you which enemies are on rate up. They'll mention it underneath the free quest in gold lettering saying Assassins are on rate up, Riders are on rate up, Archers are on rate up, etc. So you should always know which type of enemy you should be farming. Now the counterintuitive part comes with equipping the craft essences. So if you're farming, for example, Sabers, because you want Saber coins and Sabers are on rate up, you're going to go into the 40 AP free quest, and you're going to pick a team of Sabers, not Archers, because the way the Gacha craft essences work is they increase the chocolate drop of the same class. So if you want an increase in Saber class chocolates, you're going to have to equip them to a Saber. And then you have to take that Saber to fight other Sabers. So there is no class advantage, meaning it can be very counterintuitive because your instinct is to pick an Archer, and it can make grinding these free quests take abnormally long and be pretty awkward. So you're always going to want to take the same class as the servant that's on rate up into the quest. However, I do recommend bringing one servant who has class advantage, because even though you won't maximize the amount of chocolate coins you'll get from that quest, you'll have a lot easier time farming it. For example, in that Saber example, bring 5 Sabers, equip them with the Gacha craft essences to maximize your chocolate coin drops, but bring 1 Archer, maybe a friend's Gilgamesh, and equip them with the Mosh craft essence, so at least you'll get a couple of chocolates from it since it increases all chocolate coin drops, and then proceed to just farm with that class advantage servant. And of course, this applies to all the classes, not just Saber. So if you're farming riders, make sure you have 1 assassin and 5 riders on your team. If you're farming casters, make sure you have 5 casters and 1 rider on your team, etc. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the video with the shop items, notice there is no way to increase the baking chocolate drops, only the chocolate coin drops, which means you're going to be farming for chocolate coins, not baking chocolates. Thankfully, you can trade the chocolate coins in for 1 baking chocolate, so the exchange rate is 1-to-1. So basically all the chocolate coins you get that you aren't going to be trading in for the servant specific chocolate craft essences, you can just transfer into baking chocolates and use those to buy the shop items. And while we're on the subject of bonuses, there is one common misconception that I do want to clear up. No servants have bonuses during this event, so you don't really get anything if you're just using female servants to farm. It's not like they have an extra damage buff like in Saber Wars or anything like that. So you can use a team of all male servants. The only thing that's going to give you a bonus is the craft essences themselves, not the servant. So feel free to use whoever you like. I do want to mention also that farming this event, while it won't be as difficult as Saber Wars, it can be extremely difficult, especially if you plan on getting those craft essences from the servants for Valentine's. There's no gameplay value for doing that, so I know some people won't even bother, but I also know most people will probably try to get the Valentine's chocolate of their favorite servants. So I'll let you know now that if you're planning to do that, it's going to increase the amount of farming you have to do by a lot if you plan on getting everyone's chocolates. So be prepared for some intense grinding. I do highly recommend that everyone focus on getting the Mosh craft essence first from the shop. First and foremost, always get the event craft essence from the shop. Then you should prioritize whatever Ascension items you need and the rest of these shop items. Obviously, if you need plumes more than homunculus babies, go for those first. And then finally, at the end, after you've cleared the shop, you should focus on getting any kind of event craft essence from your servant that you want. And again, these craft essences have no gameplay value outside of the event. All you're getting is a cute cutscene and a cute letter attached to the craft essence, which is, in my case, more than enough, and I absolutely love that little touch. If you are having trouble with the 40 AP, then you can absolutely farm the 35 or 30 AP, just beware. The less difficult the quest is, the less chocolates you're going to get from it. So to reiterate, just farm whatever quest has the enemy that's on rate up. Make sure your team is comprised of 5 of that type with the Gacha craft essence and 1 servant who has class advantage, and trade in any of the chocolate coins you get that you aren't planning on using for the servant craft essences in for the baking chocolate so that you can use it to buy out the shop items. So the last thing I just want to bring up is the Ascension material farming. There are places to farm for rare Ascension materials here in case you didn't get enough during Saber Wars. For example, the 40 AP Night Quest will drop Saber, Archer, and Lancer monuments, and the 40 AP Cavalry Quest will drop Berserker, Caster, Assassin, and Rider monuments. In addition, the 40 AP Night Quest will also drop Phoenix Plumes, Horseshoes, and Homunculus Babies, and Void Dust, and it has a small chance of dropping the Reverse Dragon Scales. Meanwhile, the 40 AP Cavalry Quest will drop Void Dust, Dragon Fangs, Ancient Gears, Forbidden Pages, Octuplet Crystals, and it has a small chance of dropping Hearts of a Foreign God. And finally, the 30 AP Cavalry Quest and the 30 AP Night Quest both drop Chaos Talons. So, to reiterate, 30 AP drops Chaos Talons in both sides, 40 AP Night Quest will drop Reverse Dragon Scales, and the 40 AP Cavalry Quest will drop Hearts of a Foreign God. And that about wraps up everything I have to say about the event. I hope you guys found that useful. As a quick summary, just to go over everything, Nero Bride is the new 5-star servant. She's going to be on rate up for the whole event. In addition, every non-limited 5-star female will also have a rate up on individual days. And when it comes to farming the event, you're going to want to farm the 40 AP quest, either for night classes or cavalry classes, depending on which class is on rate up, and it'll tell you which class is on rate up underneath the quest. And you're going to want to use a team of servants that are the same class as the class on rate up, equipped with the Gacha craft essences, and you're going to also want at least 1 servant with a class advantage just to make farming easier. And that pretty much covers it, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments. I'll try to answer as much as I can. And if this video did help you out, please leave a like and consider subscribing. In addition, please do check out the Nero Bride spotlight I have up on the channel right now, so that you have a good idea if you want to roll for her or not. And check out the spotlight playlist in case you want to see any of the other 5 stars that are on Rate Up and if they're worth rolling for. And I wish you guys the best of luck in your rolling and farming for this event. So until next time, guys, this is Sober Oni signing out. Later.